Alright, we're going to start this episode off with a new section called Corrections and Additions. Now, the first correction I have is those things I were calling G-clips are actually called circlips. And the tool that I needed to take the connecting rod apart was not a Torx head tool, but this 12-point wrench and a hammer to go along with it to whack it. Now, someone asked me, why replace the rod? Well, here's why. This is an engine that I happened to own a while ago, and it got pushed a little too hard, and the connecting rod broke in half and slammed through the side of the engine, just like that. Okay, end of corrections. Okay, episode 3 and 4, finishing the billet rod install and putting in aftermarket valve springs and billet keepers. I started by cleaning all the gunk off the side oil pan, and also on the engine side, getting all the old gasket off. And there's the new gasket. Just doing a test fitting and make sure the holes are in the right place. Then I cleaned off the head, got it ready for lapping the valves. There's the wrench I needed for the connecting rod. There's the connecting rod installed. Pretty much the same thing as in the last video. You want it on there really tight, so take a hammer, shown in the next slide, and really whack it on there very hard. Don't strip it. Okay, so now we're going to lap your valves. There's a valve lapping tool. It's a wooden tool with 2 suction cups at the end and a valve lapping compound. The directions are on the back. Alright, now we're going to install the valve springs. First, there's your intake side valve spring. And you're going to take this little rubber gasket with metal around it. You're going to take that out. You're going to put a washer that came in the aftermarket valve spring kit. And then you're going to put the little gasket thing over the top of it. And then put your spring on top of it. Here's a diagram that might help. Okay, valve springs are installed. Now we're going to bolt the head on. Stick the head gasket on. And then begin bolting your head on. Here you can see starting to install the pusher rod. And now we're beginning to install the crankcase side. Basically, you just put it on and then stick the bolts in. Alright, now we're beginning to install the overhead valve cover. Put the cover on, stick the bolts on. Pretty straightforward. Start installing the carburetor and intake. Just bolt it on. And connect the tubes properly. There's the tube going up to the breather tube. There's the exhaust on. Just 2 bolts. There's the exhaust guard on. A few more bolts, some details. There's the bolts that hold the top of it on. And then there's another picture of it. Then there's the bolt that holds the bottom of it on to keep it from rattling everywhere. There's also a spacer washer. Then we installed the heat guard between the engine and the gas tank. It's held on by just 1 bolt. Then I installed the gas tank. And then I installed the motor onto the frame. Here I am bolting the bolts on. Sticking the torque converter cover on. There's torque converter all back together. Starting to put the cover on now. And it's on. And a few glory shots. Alright, here I am starting it. Sounds good. Alright, now when I first got back together, it was still backfiring pretty bad, and it took me a while to figure out what was going on. Turns out that platinum spark plug I bought really wasn't helping it. It was holding it back, so I stuck the original back on. Now with this upgrade, I found that the power band has been smoothed out very nicely. There's better power, better acceleration, and I was clocked at 32 miles an hour at 4,500 RPM. So all in all, I really love this upgrade, and I would recommend it. It definitely helps the motor work better. Alright, thanks for coming. See you back in episode 5.